All right. Welcome everybody to our celebration of winter nights. We are going to be having a beautiful feast tonight. Winter nights is a celebration of our bountiful harvest. It is fall, the days are getting shorter and the nights are getting colder. We like to warm up around the campfire. We like to share and break bread together and feast on a beautiful stew. So today we are going to make a pork stew with winter wheat berries and all of our bountiful harvest: leeks, kale, carrots, fresh herbs, butter, and a fresh pork. So when we are gathered together, we eat hearty, and this is what we are doing today. So I am going to start with some beautiful cured pork. This is pancetta, and it is going to go into the pot first. I want to share with you this beautiful kale that was picked from our garden from our friends here in camp. Once the stew has been cooking for about 20 minutes, we are going to add the winter kale. Winter kale, you can eat the whole thing from the top to the bottom, but we're just going to cut off the hard part at the bottom of the kale. We're going to cut the bottom off of the kale because it is very woody and it gets really tough. And then I'm going to just start at the top where the leaf part is of the kale, and I'm just going to give it a little rough chop. The kale is going to cook down into the stew, and it is going to give the stew a little bit of richness and a little bit of the green taste. All right, I just pulled these beautiful leeks out of our garden. Leeks are one of the last vegetables to come out of the garden, and they can be a vegetable that lasts the entire winter. What we're going to do is we're going to pull off the outer leaves. These are really tough and they don't have a lot of onion flavor. And I'm going to chop these up, and these are going to go into the pot with the beautiful pork fat. So when you do a leek, you're going to cut only the white part up to where the white meets the green. And we're just going to use our knife and slice the leeks. Slice them down the center first. The beauty of leeks is that you plant one leek in the garden and you will have 5 for 5 years. They come back year after year, and they are a beautiful vegetable to grow in your winter garden. So these are the beautiful carrots that I pulled from the garden. I just gave them a little wash and they are ready to go in the stew. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just cut them up however they cut. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be the same size. They are just going to go into the stew. Pork is a staple of our diet. It is the primary source of protein that we get day to day. After we are given a pig to harvest, we try to use everything from the nose to tail. So today I have a beautiful piece of pork loin that we are going to use for the stew. So what I'm going to do is to chop it up into about yay size pieces of pork. Okay, just big enough to fit in the bowl and big enough to fit in your mouth. It's important that when we are making a stew that everything can fit on your spoon, or there's no point to having bigger pieces. So I like to cut them into spoon-sized bites. So once I cut the pork, it is going to go into the stew. This is a stew that doesn't need browned pork. We just want it to be braised and tender. Braising means that you are going to cover it with liquid and let it cook. So once I am done cutting this piece of pork, I'm going to put it into the pot, and then we are going to let it cook. Can we try?
Let me get a couple.
Can we try?
Let me get a couple.
Into the stew goes the pork loin, and we're going to stir it. I need my stick. Hold on. It's really important when we put our pork fat in here that we tend it the entire time so that it doesn't stick or burn. You're going to hear it bubbling and crackling as the fat starts to render. And it is important to watch, because if the flame is touching the bottom of the pot, you are more likely to burn. So we're going to be putting the pot up a few rings as it starts to cook. But we're just going to let it hang out and rest and start to brown. After you add the pork, we stir, and then we are going to let it simmer. All right, so I noticed that the pancetta, the pork, was getting a little bit dry, so I added a little bit of butter, and then I also put in chicken stock and apple cider into the pot. Oh, it's great. Once everything is cooking, we're going to give it a little stir just to make sure that nothing is sticking on the bottom, and that is when we are going to add the kale. Kale takes about 10 minutes to cook. We're going to get this nice and soft. After the pork has been simmering for about 10 minutes and you start to see the fat rendering and the pork turn white, I'm going to add the fresh herbs from our garden. These are the last of the summer herbs that come from the garden, and they are pretty hardy. This is thyme. Thyme is going to give it a nice richness and sort of like a wintry flavor. The next herb we're going to put in is rosemary. Rosemary grows all through the winter. It dries really well, and it gives an earthiness to the stew. And then the final one is sage. Sage we keep all through the winter. We hang it upside down, and we will use it in soups and stews and teas for the winter. And then the herbs are just going to simmer in the pot. Can I also have the wheat berries? Wheat berries are something that we harvest and we will use all through the winter. It is a grain that provides us with sustenance. We eat it pretty much with every meal. This will also go into the stew, and it will simmer for about 20 minutes. So the wheat berries are going into the stew now. You need to give it a stir so they don't stick, and they absorb the apple cider and the broth. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper just to make sure that it is nice and seasoned. And then the lid goes on. We'll get the lid. Once all the ingredients are in the pot, so we have the pork, we have the broth, the carrots, the leeks, the wheat berries, the pork, and the herbs, we're going to give it one last stir to make sure that nothing is sticking. Then we are going to put the lid on and let it simmer for about 25 minutes. Take this beautiful bread and enjoy it. We can't have a stew without a beautiful piece of bread. So as we sit and share the meal together, we will also sit and break bread. This is a beautiful loaf. I want to thank all of you for joining me for this beautiful winter night meal. I am looking forward to sharing more recipes with you.